Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, Gambia, or good evening, actually, if I should say. Welcome to another exclusive and very interesting episode of Straight Talk, where we will be talking to Honorable Alhagie Mbow. Today is the 22nd of May, 2024. You're listening to West Coast Radio, YouTube page. We have a very special guest with us today. We are not going to take long to introduce him, but he is the Honorable Member for Upper Salum. The Honorable Member for Upper Salum. He is also the Vice President Chairperson of the FPAC, Finance and Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly. Honorable Alhagie Mbow, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, and it's good to be back here at West Coast Radio, and it's always nice to talk to the Gainako crew.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for coming. This is the first time appearing for me on the Straight Talk. I've had you before, Honorable Mbow. We've had the opportunity of interviewing you on several occasions. You know, you are one of those who make life of journalists very easy because you provide us information. Sometimes we have difference in opinion. That does not mean
inevitable.
Like the Constitution, the Constitution. You voted against the Constitution.
Yes.
Honorable, what do you think about? Do you still maintain your position on the? If it was to come, what would be the best way for the Constitution to come, in your view?
Well, there are various ways. I think what we highlighted at the time of the voting, which we did not get any clarification on. Mm-hmm. And I think the points still are valid, and I think there are still things that need to be done. Because again, when you're dealing with documents such as a constitution of a country, mm-hmm.
and
that's going to govern the country, I think some of these issues that we actually highlighted at the time mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Must be resolved before we move into some other things.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these are really laws that is meant for society, and these are laws that are meant to cure the ills of society. So mm-hmm. this is something that really we need to be very critical, and we also need to really look at them to ensure that we have the best, and also it's going to stand the test of time at the same time.
Mm-hmm. We are not going to spend a lot of time on that for today, but obviously I know you are very open. We spoke about the topics. Honorable Mbow, before we proceed, I'm sure we would all want to share condolences. There has been a terrible accident that has made the news. Yesterday it occurred, and involving the president's convoy, and some officers have unfortunately lost their lives. The Ministry of Information, on their page, on their social media page, they've put out an update which has been going around. I'm sure we all want to show condolences to those officers who have lost their lives.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we praying, and in fact, I think I want to send our condolences to the head of state, His Excellency Adam Barrow, and the Minister for the Interior, and also all the families of the deceased, and also those that were part of the accident. And
mm-hmm.
we are praying for their recovery at the earliest time, mm-hmm. and also the one that actually has passed away. We are praying for Allah to grant him Jannatul Firdaus.
Indeed. You are listening to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor, alias Flexdan. And on today's program, we are discussing and talking about the National Assembly's role when it comes to public oversight financially on that aspect, because Honorable Alhagie Mbow is the Vice Chairperson of the Finance and Public Accounts Committee. They have passed resolutions demanding several institutions to account for or repay millions of funds, and not only monies, some of them are even vehicles. We've got the resolution. There have been several resolutions that have been passed. If we can remember, there was an impressed resolution also which was passed. And I'm not sure, is there also a resolution for the COVID funds? Is that a separate one, or are they all together?
Yes, there was a separate one for COVID for the audit on the first and the second phases. Mm-hmm. But again, most of the issues that were highlighted in the COVID were also captured on the main resolution. Okay. That had almost like 38 points. On this main resolution that was passed last year.
since we are talking about money. This program is not sponsored. We need people to come and sponsor this program so we can continue to make these type of programs. Reach out to me, 504-7877. That's my QCell number. What we are doing is we are trying to save this country money. Money which we believe, if used and spent wisely, will benefit everybody. You, me, the Gambian public. That's why Straight Talk is very important. Last time we brought a member here who was very interested in talking about trying to address the issue of accidents. We're trying to save the Gambian people lives. But we can't do that as the media if you don't support us with funds. You know, not all of us have received the 5-point-something million.
Oh, you mean West Coast didn't get anything?
West Coast didn't actually get any. Okay. West Coast didn't get any.
Okay.
Yes. So sponsor this program. Come and support this program. Let us be able to give you independent, credible news that is coming direct from source. Today, we will be making huge revelations. This is what I said on my social media page today. The reason is why some of them might already be made because of National Assembly has been actually updating the public with regards to the way these resolutions are occurring and they are being progressed because of, in February, your committee had an update with government institutions with regards to that impressed resolution that was passed. And I believe not too long ago, you've also had another one with regards to, so perhaps we can start, the best place to start is to give people an idea in a very chronological manner about these resolutions, what they are, what they entail. Perhaps we will not be able to go through everything, but we can pick some of them here and there. So we will start. What we know, is that outstanding interest is to be retired by October 31st, 2022. That was the first resolution which was passed. That was passed. Now, that all unreconciled government transactions indicated in the audited accounts be reconciled by the Accountant General before the end of the financial year 2022 and a report sent to the FPAC. That the government, through the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, endeavors to table before the Assembly a revised public finance bill and a revision of the Financial Regulations 2016 before the end of the financial year. Number 4 is calling for the Auditor General to consider invoking his powers under Section 160, subsection 5 of the Constitution, where discrepancies of a criminal or fraudulent nature are discovered during an audit. That the Auditor General consider including in its report to the National Assembly all cases of criminal or fraudulent nature reported to the IGP, and that the Auditor General and the Accountant General provide to the National Assembly a list of all people that have been found to commit fraudulent activities in all sectors and give the latest update on their prosecution or repayments. These are huge. There are many more, but we don't want to belabor, and we've gone through some 6 of the first set of resolutions, which was tabled sometime in 2022. I believe, was it in September? Or June, one of the time. But we can take it on from there. We'll start with the first resolution. What can you tell us? How is that going? Who have paid? Impressed? Who have not paid? How is that going, Honorable?
Yes, thank you very much, Felix Dan, for having me again on this show. And just to bring some little clarifications on the resolutions that were actually approved by the National Assembly. And it actually was a resolution that came out from the Finance and Public Accounts Committee, who is mandated to actually have an overlook of the government audited accounts and other institutions.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the unretired interest at the time, we were dealing with issues from as far back as 2010, all the way to around 2017. So you realize that you are dealing with almost 7 years unretired interest. And again, when you look at the Public Finance Act and also the financial regulations, at the latest, by the end of the financial year, all interest must be retired. And what we have realized at the time was there were close to almost 30 million that was not actually retired. And then we probe into the activities to see what actually has caused all these things here. Now, we gave ultimatum to the into the entire list because it consists of close to more than 50 different people at various ministries, at various government agencies. Now,
and how much money?
And we are talking over 30 million at the time.
30 million.
Over 30 million, yeah. So now at the time, what we asked them to do also to go and reconcile back because of, and they were able to, particularly those that are still in government. We said, if they have not retired within a period of time, if I remember right, within 30 to 60 days, then they need to start to deduct them on their salaries. And that's actually was effective and that was actually done.
So now, they are deducting some people their salaries?
Yes, as we speak right now, some people have been deducted every month from their salaries, and that has started since last year. In fact, until now, the last update we have close to 4.4 million that was already recovered on the unretired interest. Some were as a result of payroll deduction. Okay. So we were able to get at least $4.4 million.
Okay.
That's
out of 30.
clear. Yeah, exactly. That was clear.
Yes.
Now we also continue on the recovery. You will see that there are also another amount, almost 6.7 million, that was completely retired. So which means at the time.
That's separate for this from
yes,
what you
separate,
just said.
Separate, yeah. Because see, what happened is some of them. It's not like these are monies that they've stolen or whatever.
Yes, they have actually done the work.
Exactly, yeah. But they have not bring the documentation
paperwork
to confirm. Exactly,
yes.
yeah. So some actually have gone back to the ministries to do the retirement, and then at the end. We have about another 6.7 million that was actually completely done, which means actually they are cleared that they no longer owe anything. And this actually, covers many ministries, from the Office of the President, from the Ministry of Finance, Health, Parks and Wildlife, the Army Headquarters, Immigration, you name them. They were actually cleared because they went back to ensure that that was actually done. But still, we have some that are
now we are talking about the ones that are outstanding who have not paid.
Yeah.
So in total, there are about 11 million that has been recovered from the 30 million.
Yes.
So we are now. This is the monies that are outstanding.
Yes, and they've also seen somewhere also some transactions, about 3 to 4 transactions that were some errors on them, but those also have been corrected. So in all, we still have a long way to go. We still have some outstanding.
What are the big ones that are outstanding?
If you look at on the list, you have one that is $5 million. That is outstanding, but the person is still in active service.
So one person took an interest totally up to $5 million.
Yes, at the time.
Unbelievable.
And that was taken in 2010.
Sure.
And but the person is actually paying right now.
And they are in government still.
Yes, they are in government, and then the person is actually paying almost $50,000 every month.
Wow.
To ensure this actually client.
Wow.
Because
they must be on a big salary then in the government.
Most likely, it's in the foreign service actually.
Oh right.
It's in the foreign service. I don't need to.
We don't need to name names. Fine.
Yeah. Yes. But then we also have others that are also in the region of 5 million to 1 million also. But those ones there are no movements. Which means they are not making any payments right now as we speak. So now we are going to wait for the next update from the Accountant General to see the next step that we're going to take. So we means if we have to take legal action, we'll do just that. But those that are in government and were receiving salaries, so we've started to deduct them. Some actually have fully paid. Some they're still paying because of the amount involved is huge. So they're still being deducted every month until they fully retire all the interest.
Thank you very much for that update. That was the voice of Honorable Alhagie Mbow, the member for Upper Salum. Upper Salum. He's also vice chairperson for the Finance and Public Accounts Committee, and they do public oversight. They are the ones who check government's finances for the most of the institutions, apart from the public enterprises, right? Yes. Yeah. And is there any other, I just want to make sure that I'm clear when I'm telling people about the FPAC.
Yes, it's the Finance and Public Accounts.
Yes.
It takes a look at the central government, and also with the exception of the public enterprises, they take care of all the audited accounts of government institutions, including central government.
Thank you so much for that update. Honorable, you also have played a very instrumental role in the Access to Information Act. Which was passed. In fact, it's hailed as one of the government successes. And we also have the Anti-Corruption Act, which has also been passed. Another huge government success. Some people would not know, but you've also tabled a private members bill, which will allow the Gambia National Assembly members more time to scrutinize the budget starting from next year.
No, this year actually.
This year, as in, oh yes, this year. Yes, you are very right. But the budget for next year, obviously, yes. But honorable, I mean, we don't want to. I think it's important for people to know the positives also that are happening. So I thought we'd raise this up so that you can, give us what's your reaction to these things. Yes. Before I ask you the really tough question.
Okay. It's always important that when we were, as a country, that came out from really a very repressive regime that all of us have agreed on, that we try to align ourselves with best practices and also align ourselves with what's actually happening in the world. And when I talk about best practices, meaning things that actually can also work and that can also make a change in the way in our entire governance architecture. Now, I think ATI was one of the bills that we actually worked on.
It seems in your first, that was in your first term.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you followed it through.
Exactly, because in fact, it was a coincidence that I was actually working on a private bill to bring the ATI, which is access to information. Because the way I see it is like, whenever there are a lot of speculations, we mean there isn't enough information, and people will always speculate. But once government is, or the institutions, particularly government, is very proactive to give information, you're going to see that a lot of rumors will actually reduce. And the ATI, my opinion is that it's just going to help to reduce a lot of these rumors and a lot of this unfounded, information. Because again, our greatest threat right now in this world, in this technological age, is about misinformation and disinformation. And again, some of this actually happen because people do not have access to this information. Now that we have these laws in place, and now that we also have the act passed in Parliament, now I think government is working also to set up the commission. And I think we are really good to go. And you're going to see that now people don't have any chance to say, well, I didn't know, or they don't give me this, because there are laws in place that would guide you on how to access some of the information. Now, it's also important to note that not every information government is actually should go give out, because there are information that are actually for security reasons. But again, this must be vetted by the commission themselves, just to ensure that they are within the parameters where these information officers actually can give out the information. So I think that's one of the areas that I think we are good to go. And then I think the commissioners will be coming to Parliament this coming session, for them to be vetted and then also to be to be approved. Because normally it's the president that will nominate them, and Parliament will confirm them.
Indeed.
So we are aware that some have been nominated. In fact, they've submitted the nominations to us.
Okay.
So we're going to take a look at it. And then by this coming session, which is going to start around June 24 to July 24. So during that period of time, then we'll be able to confirm them, and then their work actually can start earnest.
How do you feel that since 2021, government is only coming up now, 2024, with the name of the commissioners?
Yes, when you look at the what is required for them to do in the ATI, when it was being approved, you're going to realize that to set up these institutions, a lot of funding is required. So you're going to see that the first year, the budget was really very limited. And in fact, I even remember correctly, last year the budget was almost about 6 million. Now, if you're going to set up a commission, such as ATI and their importance, you need to hire staff. First, you get the commission, you hire staff. And I don't think 6 million was going to be enough for that. So, and I think what they did is they start to use some of the money to be able to even train people. Because again, information is such that information officers must be trained. They must be grounded in what they can give and what they cannot give. And all that process was going behind the scenes until now that they are ready, and that's why they bring in the commissioners now.
What about those who argue that they could have put this under the National Human Rights Commission?
Well, that was my position as well. But again, in Parliament, it's all about voting. My position was that why not, before creating a new commission, why can't we just update the National Human Rights Commission and maybe add another commissioner?
Yes, expand their department or something.
Yeah, in fact, that would have made it much easier and much faster for the commission to start working. Because again, the office is already there, so it's just a matter of hiring.
And how many commissions will we have as a country?
We have a lot.
The next one is coming. The Anti-Corruption Commission.
Yes.
Will it take the same long period that was passed, last year?
Yes, it was passed last
So
year.
will it take another 4 years? Is it 2027, 2028 before we start to see a commission?
So. No, I don't think so. And because again, if you look at this, the anti-corruption also for the budget of last year, because of it was not actually it didn't pass at the time, so we couldn't put any budget for it. Yes. But I'm almost certain that this year when the budget comes, we will see something dealing with the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Yes.
And again, it's going to be under the Ministry of, Minister of Justice. And I think we'll be able to put something to ensure that we get this commission up and running as quickly as possible, so that we can get the commissioners in place. Yeah.
And finally, the bill which you championed yourself.
Yes.
You brought a bill,
yes.
and you will go down in the Gambia's history for being the member who has increased the time that National Assembly members have to review the bill. This is also consistent with what is in the draft constitution.
Yes.
That you voted no against.
Exactly. So
yes.
In fact, if you recall, that's one of the issues I actually highlighted. I said this is really very progressive in the draft constitution. Okay. It was really very progressive. But the reason why we voted the other way around, it was some other additional points, but not specifically this particular item. Yeah. Now the importance of this is because of, again, when you look at the budget, it's an estimate, and it's going to cover a period of time, like accounting period for about 12 months. And then the time that was currently in the 1997 Constitution was at the time about 30 days before the end of the financial year. Now, when it's brought before the Parliament, 30 days before the end of the financial year, let's say by the end of November, and Parliament actually has almost 2 weeks to scrutinize and to approve or disapprove. Yeah. And then after that, they come up with an appropriation bill. So you will realize that experience actually has taught me that the time period was too short. And again, remember, you are dealing with members of Parliament that need to do some consultations with ministries, departments, and agencies. So I thought that really that was really too short. Even though some of us actually are very familiar with the document, but then also we need to ensure that everybody's on the same page. And that's the reason why I thought it was wise for me to come up with a private member bill to increase the time frame from 30 days at least now to 60 days. And I personally believe that the 60 days now is more than enough for us to be able to scrutinize, make consultations, and then approve or disapprove based on really what we want to do. And again, it's going to give opportunity to all the members to ensure that they complete their work and they complete on time. Because what we used to happen was sometimes we spend through the night, late in the night, we are in the Parliament. Because of, again, we have to do the work. And I remember there's one time that we had to spend almost 29 hours at the Parliament. Wow. More than 29 hours. So you go in the morning, you don't go back home until the following day, late afternoon. And again, this is not really very healthy. So changing that from 30 days to 60 days, I think it can give us an opportunity to scrutinize better and to make more consultations and to ensure that we pass what we need to pass, and we also need to remove what we need to remove. So I think this is going to be in the best interest of the National Assembly, but at the same time also the best interest of the Minister of Finance, because we also help him in terms of the scrutiny, because again, he compiled budgets from other institutions. There are institutions that he cannot touch. Even the President actually cannot change, like the Judiciary, like the IEC, the Ombudsman, etc., etc. These are independent institutions. Their budgets cannot be touched by them. So the only thing they can do is send us a memo with their observations, and then it's up to Parliament to change or do whatever they want to do. So I think this is also going to be very helpful for all of us to ensure that we have more time to be able to scrutinize and to ensure that we do the right thing with the estimates.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Mr. Honorable Mbow. We've already congratulated you when you passed the bill.
Thank you.
We congratulated you because it's an historic moment, and it's a moment that really I think will benefit Gambians, and people might see the impact very soon in the future in subsequent budgets. We hope so.
Yeah, we hope so too.
So yes, Honorable Mbow, you also have work outside the Gambia. You are also you have occupied a very important role in the Pan-African Parliament. Is that correct, please?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
The Pan-African Parliament is an AU organ that deals with the legislative business. But again, the Parliament doesn't have legislative mandate. What that means is we cannot make laws, but we can make model laws where countries actually can take a look at and then copy and then do what we follow. But we also play an oversight role on the AU, on the entire AU organs. Because when you look at the AU, you have the Assembly Heads of State, you have the Executive Council, you have then you have the Pan-African Parliament, and then you have other organs that come with it. So you're going to see that the budget of the entire African Union is us that actually scrutinize the budget, and then we also make our observations and send it back to the AU.
And does the AU just take your observations? They're not bound to.
They are not actually bound because
they're not bound.
Because we don't have the legislative mandate like we have in the Gambia or any other country like Ghana or Nigeria.
Are there plans to do this? Because I know in Europe, they direct vote for their parliamentarians.
Yes.
Is there any plans for this to happen in Africa or ECOWAS?
Yes. In fact, there is a plan. It's just that countries need to sign it.
Okay.
Fortunately, Gambia actually has signed and ratified the protocol since 2016, and then other countries need to also follow.
Okay.
Right now, we need about 29 countries. We need 29 countries in total. Yes, but right now, the last time I checked, we had almost about 17 countries that actually have signed and ratified the protocol.
Okay.
So this protocol actually is going to ensure that every country actually have 5 members in the African Parliament, including 2 women and also a member from the opposition. And again, we're going to see that these people are directly elected, not right we do it right now. Because right now we are nominated from the Parliament and sent to the African Parliament. So it's 5 of us. I'm the head of the delegation. Also, we have one female and some other members from the opposition as well. So that's the composition of the African Parliament. So every country actually sends 5 members. So, but what we want to do is, if this protocol comes into place, then you see that members of Parliament in the Pan-African Parliament will have the powers to legislate. Their membership to the Parliament also will be direct, universal suffrage. It means people will be elected directly, as opposed to what happens now. Now we are nominated from our own Parliament and sent there. So we are still doing lobbying. In fact, I remember late last year, as the chairperson of the West African Caucus, we visited Cote d'Ivoire. We visited also Cape Verde to lobby them so that they can actually sign this protocol. Okay. Because eventually, in fact, right now as we speak, we have almost more than 50% of the West African countries actually have signed and ratified. So West Africa actually is taking the lead to ensure that we sign and ratify this Malabo protocol to ensure that PAP becomes a fully fledged legislature, just like the European Parliament we have. So we have some long way to go. I know that some of countries actually not in agreement with some of the text, but I think this is something that we can also negotiate to ensure that we sign it. Because again, the African Union needs to have a legislature. Yeah. They need to have.
If not, then they will cease to outlive their usefulness and the cost and all of that.
Exactly. Yes. Right now, if you look at it right now, it seems the Assembly Heads of State, which is the organ on top, is actually responsible to do everything. In fact, you can call them the judge and the jury at the same time.
Yes, yes.
And that is not really what we want to do. We want to just have what we have in our own countries, where we have the Assembly Heads of State, but then we have the Parliament that will play
balance.
On the balance.
There needs to be a balance.
Exactly, yeah.
Because there's no balance right now. That's why they feel like some of these African leaders feel like they are all powerful and they can do whatever.
And in fact, again, separation of powers, I think it becomes very crucial to ensure that there is no one particular arm of the state that has absolute power. So, but right now, as we speak, as far as the AU is concerned, the Assembly has to still actually have the absolute power on anything. Yeah. In fact, even when we discuss the budget, we make recommendations. It's optional. In fact, I can say that most of the time, our recommendations actually are not incorporated. So they just go ahead and do what they feel like doing. So, but we think by signing this protocol, which Gambia actually has done in 2016, I think we're going to have a proper legislature that will play an oversight on the African Union. And I think that's actually very necessary now. We have the African Court of Justice as well, that is also already in place. So right now, it's only the Parliament that needs to be in place, and then we are good to go.
We are good to go.
Yep.
Fingers crossed that will happen.
Inshallah.
You are listening to Straight Talk, the program to be. We are saving Gambians millions and millions of dollars. I told you that we need sponsors so that we can save Gambians more millions of dollars.
Sure.
And we are going to do that. You are Honorable Mbow. The National Assembly has managed to recover over $11 million out of 30. And they are still trying to recover more. The biggest one, somebody about 5 million of interest, them alone. One person. Can you believe? One person. So, but we will move. We have more revelations to make. I said we are going to have huge revelations today, and I mean business. We're going to go to another resolution, which we are going to talk about. I'm not sure if we will even have time to open the lines because of today. I know that people will want to listen to me and you and get the information. The second resolution, which was passed, we'll briefly touch on this. Highlight some of the, because this one is was a long one. I believe that was the 38-point resolution. I don't know if that came before the COVID. There's one resolution which is very long. It's about 7 pages, 38 pages. I mean, 38 points, 38 points,
38 points,
7 pages document, right? And in there, some I'm going to pick. Obviously, if I want to do that, the whole program, we will not finish. I'm going to pick some generally. And basically, it is saying, it's ordering that MDAs, which are the ministries, departments, and agencies, right? To provide FPAC, that's the Finance and Public Accounts Committee, with a comprehensive list of all fraudulent cases across government institutions, particularly the Accountant General's Office, the Auditor General's Office, the Inspector General of Police, and the Judiciary, including names, amounts, dates, and their current status, failure of which the IGP must launch an investigation immediately and report back to the FPAC within 90 days. This was issued in September 2023. Yeah, so some of the other things which we will just highlight, there are a number of them here, but I'm going to go for the ones with the big monies. Yes, that the Ministry of Finance must provide a written explanation to FPAC on or before 26 September 2023, that's a long time back, stating the reasons why 404 virements totaling 2,687,362,341 butoots, why they were made, and these are over the maximum threshold of 75%. That's a lot of money. We're talking billions. I said we are saving Gambian millions, but I think we should be talking about billions here. Now, there are a lot more here. I'm continuing to highlight some of them, which can be very controversial. That the Secretary General, Office of the President, and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure must provide a written explanation to the FPAC on or before 28 September 2023 for accepting the Banjul Drainage, Roads and Sewage contract and evidence that Guy Enterprise is the most sustainable and qualified contractor to carry out this project. Everybody knows that Banjul project. So government and parliament is holding the government accountable. They should tell them how they managed to come to that reason, because of, I think it was single source, if I'm not mistaken, or whether there was a tender about this, but we will continue.
It was an EPC,
Yes, I'll give 2 more and then we will just go on, because of we cannot, address everything. Another one is urging for the Accountant General must present to the auditors for review all unpresented payment vouchers and supporting documents amounting to $392,091.67 butoots. That one is not too much, on or before 28 September. It's a lot of money still. A lot of people don't have that money. And there are more here. The sum of $950,000 is also supposed to be reimbursed. And there are a number of things here. But generally, I wanted to give the people a flavor. I cannot go through every one of the 38 points. There are some of them there that are in the millions, some of them that are in the billions. That one is violence. It's not about monies that were like necessarily misappropriated. I don't want to inform the public. The violence is violence. These are monies that the government has right to via, but within the legal limit. But however, in these instances, there have been violence that have been done over that threshold, and that amounts to 2 billion. That's a lot of money. Yeah? But and there are also vehicles that have been not accounted for also in this resolution.
Yeah.
Yes, Honorable, I can't finish everything. There's so much you guys are doing here.
We can start with the environment.
Yes, sir.
With a budget, which is just a financial plan of a period of time, it's not really cast in stone. And sometimes, things can change along the way in ministries, in departments and agencies, and then you're going to see that their priorities actually can even change during the course of the year. Mm-hmm. However, we have the Public Finance Act that defines how, when, and how much environment can be made and approved by who. Now, I think where we have an issue is the Public Finance Act 2014, which actually gives a lot of powers to the minister to approve. Because if you look at it in the first part, it's saying environment is allowed among expenditure items of the budget agency up to a maximum of 75% of the appropriation.
Yes.
Then it says at the end, at the request of the budget agency and the approval of the minister. The minister is talking about the Minister of Finance, the approving authority. Then the second one also is saying among budget agencies, which is under the same supervising department. For example, if you look at the, for example, Minister of Finance, example, there are other departments within it, like GRA is there, SDF is there, and others. So we mean they can do environment among themselves.
Yes.
But again, at the request of the supervising department and approval of the minister again is required. Then the third one is among budget agencies, we mean from one ministry to another, and the approval of the minister in consultation with the vote controller. And here is the permanent secretary vote controller. Where we have a issue here, it says, where the amount to be fired exceeds, you know, it just given limits. But it said where the amount of the fired exceeds the limit set under subsection 4A, the approval of the minister is required. So which means the minister actually has to, and again, it's still the Minister of Finance. Yes. So the approval. Now, if you continue further, it's saying environment is not permitted between personal emolument and stuff like that. So you're going to say that all these environments, when it goes above the thresholds, the Minister of Finance has to approve. So it's still the approving authority. So I think that's where we have an issue in the law. Maybe we need to put another line at it to ensure that at least the powers of the minister actually is checked. So right now we expect to receive the Public Finance Act bill, the Public Finance Bill of 2024. And when it comes, Parliament will go and take a look, particularly FPAC will take a look at that particular provision. Because the way it is right now, so it means the minister, even though there are limits, but above the thresholds, the minister actually can just override.
So that means that the minister had the powers to do all those 2 billion environments that you guys found.
Now,
so that one is not an issue.
No, the only issue is he needs to give us an approval to show us where is the approval. Because he said the minister needs to approve. How are you doing the approval? And that's exactly where we have the issue. This approval process, the minister bring is some form of a memo or whatever. This is what they could not provide to us. They provided some that the minister actually has approved. But there are some the minister that we have not seen.
And is it still 2 billion, or have they showed, and has that amount?
We have not quantified what they have shown. But the board of contention right now is the approval.
The process of
where
approval.
is the document saying that the minister actually has approved this? And in fact, if you look at the auditors, what they mentioned along those lines. Yes, the minister has powers to approve beyond this threshold or above the threshold. But then where is the evidence showing that the minister actually has approved? This is exactly what was lacking. And again, we went back and forth. In fact, we went to this extent. They said, well, the minister, when he's traveling, for example, will give a memo that, I'm going away, but this person is going to act on my. So, but for us, I think system-wise, there needs to be something. Because when he goes away for 1 week or 2 weeks, he comes back. I mean that document he has given, it has expired when he's in the country. I can understand when he's away, somebody needs to do the work. That's fine. But let's have some document to show that, yes, it's me, the Minister of Finance, that actually has approved this file. So I think this is some of the things that was actually lacking. And I think the auditor was very right to ensure that they pointed out that, well, it's okay, the minister can approve beyond a threshold, but where is the document? So that was a missing part.
It says this. So now, give us the important stuff. How much money has been recovered? I know with this one, I'll let you comment, Honorable. You know what we want to know.
Yes.
The vehicles, have they been recovered?
Yes, actually, the
vouchers, have they been recovered?
Yes, the vehicles. What happened is there were 2 that were actually missing. The rest they were actually able to trace them. But there were 2 that they could not see. But eventually they found them. One they said that they was with the at the office of the president. And the other one was with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. But they were meant for another, department. I think I remember one was meant for the PIU in Obasalm, actually.
Yes, in your area.
Coincidentally.
Coincidentally.
So, but what we asked them to do is to ensure that, because the approval was meant to purchase the vehicle for the PIU officers in Pancha, in Obasalm. So what we are saying is, like, since it was meant for that and the money was paid for that, so when the vehicle comes, the vehicle must be delivered to them. So we are still following on that, and we are waiting for the Minister of Interior to give an update on where exactly is the vehicle. Have they delivered the vehicle? But I can tell you the vehicle is not there. That one I can confirm.
What about the other vehicle is also missing?
No, the other vehicle also is there. It's still in the system. In fact, it was with the Minister of Finance, but then also they know exactly where it is. So essentially, there is no missing vehicle. The only thing is the vehicles were not delivered where they're supposed to be delivered.
So they took the vehicle and then they diverted it elsewhere.
Somewhere else, exactly. So, and I think that's what the auditors actually highlighted, that it was because they had a list. They said the vehicles are meant for A, B, C, and D. So when the vehicles arrived, of course, they need to be delivered just like what was approved.
Indeed.
So that's exactly what was missing.
So how much money has been recovered? Is there an update for us?
Not yet.
Yes.
What happened is, in fact, we gave a timeline.
Yes.
In some of the items we actually had.
And this one is September 2023, just so that the public are aware.
Yes.
How that it is not that far away.
Yeah.
I mean, although it is coming to around. It's over 6 months now.
Yes,
Yeah.
about thereabout.
Yeah.
But what happened is, what we gave was beyond the particular period of time, the matter will be reported to the Inspector General of Police.
And that's happening.
Yes, we have done that already. So now, all these issues, for example, the COVID issues, the issue dealing with the Gambia Tourism Authority, and the issues also, and some other areas also, all actually have been reported to the IGP for more investigation and for prosecution where necessary. In fact, we've scheduled the IGP, if I remember correctly, by the 27th of this month. He's supposed to come to the FPAC to give us an update on the where he's actually on those cases we have referred to them.
27th of this month, there you guys had it. That's not far.
No, that's about next week, I think.
Next week
or so, yeah.
There might be even more bigger revelations that are made.
Yes.
But Honorable, they say, scrutiny should start with yourself.
Yes.
Us, our own media houses.
Yes.
About 6 of them were found wanting. Most of them I think they are all community radios.
Yes.
Have my people repaid this money? How much is it exactly?
Actually, it has been cleared. I think there's only one outstanding.
Which one? This time, this is media that you'll have to call out the media house.
Yes, I think is it Nyomi FM?
Nyomi FM is the only one left.
I think yes. The last time I checked, that was the only one that was outstanding. But the rest actually,
They've cleared.
Yeah.
How much is Nyomi FM outstanding?
I could not remember the exact figure. Because the figure was bulk for all those media
we
houses.
can find it in the documentation later on.
Exactly, yeah.
So the media is trying. If everybody is to do like the media, make sure that you clear the monies that you owe to government institutions. People who are institutions which are owing money from the government. You have not accounted for funds, and the audit report have mentioned you. Parliament has get out a resolution and said that you have to repay those monies. As an institution, you must repay those monies, even if it is the media. The media have paid back some of the monies. I'm very happy that today you are vindicating us. That only one media house, I'm sure the media house will come and eventually they will pay.
Now I got the figure. Only outstanding balance is now 462,000. I'm at 437.86. And this matter actually has been referred to the Inspector General of Police as well.
So Nimi FM have been referred to the Inspector General of Police.
No, see what happened is some of these issues, we are not saying that you've stolen money. We are not saying that. What we are saying is account for those things. That's all. Account for it. Just like what DHK has done. So remember DHK was part of the list. But they were able to go back and they present to us all the things that were required of them to do, and they were cleared. So now we still have the issue dealing with the Nyomi FM. So but the matter actually has been referred to the Inspector General of Police. So I'm sure when he gets back to us on by next week, we'll be able to get clarity on what actually happened. Whether they followed up and they've delivered everything to the police, we are not too sure. But by next week, we'll know something very clear.
I hope my colleagues at Nyomi FM, they will do the needful. Hopefully, they will pay this thing off. Inspector General of Police is coming there. And you don't want them to close down your station there. So hopefully this happens. Honorable, in fact, I don't think today we'll have time to take calls because of, I want to make best use of you.
Yes.
People who are listening, this is the Straight Talk Show. You are listening to West Coast Radio 95.3 FM and watching us live on Gainako Newspaper YouTube page, where we are discussing with Honorable Alhagie Mbow. We are talking about the National Assembly's role when it comes to financial and public accounts scrutinizing the finances of the National Assembly, of the government institutions. And we've talked about millions. The Parliament has managed to recover some 11 million out of 30 from that resolution, famous popular resolution that they passed in 2022. So there's still some monies to recover. And we're talking to him about COVID-19, the second resolution also. Honorable, you've had a very interesting engagement of late last month with the Judiciary.
Yes.
An exchange of press releases was being fired left, right, and center. And obviously, you were actually right in the center of it,
Yes.
because of, I think, some of your statements you were quoted for in Point newspaper stirred the judiciary to say that, you know what, no, blah blah blah. They are not. They were not actually invited. They said. We've written a fact check on this, and we've highlighted that eventually. Although National Assembly wrote a press release the following week, Monday, as well as the National Audit Office also wrote a press release, so there was an exchange of press releases, but they did have an amicable meeting, and things were resolved. But it still remains some things which remain. The judiciary has accepted that obviously they missed their meeting, which it was in the schedule. But now, the issue is, when last was the judiciary audited? Honorable, can you tell us?
Yes, I think this is something that we actually been going back and forth. I'm glad that the issue actually has been resolved. Now, what happened is, I think, whenever an institution, government institution, becomes autonomous, you are expected to actually have your own audited accounts. And what used to happen, even with the National Assembly, as we speak also, before we are autonomous, our audit was part of the central government audit. And that's the reason why it was not a separate audit. But now that we are autonomous, and in fact, the National Assembly accounts 2022 and 23, right now, the Auditor General actually is taking a look at them. So most likely before the end of this year, the Parliament will also present their own audited accounts for the public to actually see what actually has transpired at the National Assembly.
And you will be doing oversight over your own Parliament.
Yes, but but because of the fact that I'm the vice chairperson and also a member of the authority, now I will be on the witness end. So it's like I'm going to switch. We have to switch places.
Interesting.
But that's life. So we'll have to come and defend really what actually has transpired in our audited accounts. So likewise, the judiciary, I think they've been autonomous for more over 10 years. And then what was expected is, even according to the Constitution, is saying that they need to prepare their own accounts. In fact, that's the reason why even their budget is not even touched by the President. They prepare, give it to the President for onward submission. The President or the Minister of Finance doesn't even remove even a butut. They only send us with a memo to indicate they have they have some concerns about A, B, C, and D, but it's up to the Parliament to accept or not to accept. So they were expected to do that. Now, what happened is, what the Auditor General was doing with them essentially was really reviewing their work. But the onus is on them to prepare accounts for auditing. That's their responsibility. The Auditor General doesn't prepare account for anyone, only on their own, and that one actually, that's their responsibility, just like the Parliament. So what the judiciary were expected to do was to prepare accounts and then invite the Auditor General to come and inspect and then form an opinion on the correctness of what they've presented. So that was actually never done. And that's the reason why, if you look at the resolutions we passed last year, one of them was also to ask the judiciary to prepare audited accounts to submit them to the Auditor General. So that was one of the resolutions we actually had. And that's the reason why we wrote a letter to them, invite them to bring their accounts. But what they presented was not audited accounts. These were just documents that's actually meant to build an audited account. So they had the building blocks.
They didn't send financial statements and all of that are needed.
So that was what was lacking. So the document they brought essentially is of no use to us, because that's what they need themselves to. These are internal documents that they need to use to prepare their accounts and invite the Auditor General to inspect and form an opinion on their accounts. So that was never done. But at the end of the day, we were able to understand one another and to remind them about their responsibilities, that this must be done every year. And then we've given them timeline. I think by July they need to prepare and then submit to the Parliament. Submit to the
Is it September or
September? Yes, September.
Yes, September.
Yes, they will have to prepare those things. And in fact, that could be the first separate prepared accounts for the judiciary.
Since 2008, when they were decentralized?
Exactly, yeah.
So you mean to say the judiciary, our judiciary, has not been audited since 2008?
Well, they were
when they were decentralized.
Yes, they were not audited separately as what needed to be done. Because the Constitution is very clear that they need to prepare the accounts for submission to the Auditor General. That was actually never done. However, the Auditor General was going there to review their documents and stuff like that, which is part of the central government audit. But again, what was required is because of their an autonomous institution, they were supposed to actually prepare their own accounts and then submit to the Auditor General to audit and form an opinion on their finances and all the documents. But so this could be the first time when they're done in September. That could be the first time that we will do that.
Since they have been decentralized.
Yes, since they have been decentralized.
You've had it here. We have just about 10 minutes to go. We will be able to take a few calls. 504-7877. 504-7877 is the number to dial. If you have a question for Honorable Mbow, how do you hear what we have been talking about? We talked about so many things. Anti-corruption bill. We talked about millions. Revelations have been made here. Over 11 million has been recovered out of 30 million from that popular, that famous imprest recall. Those who have not paid imprest. Someone over 5 million, around 5 million, the biggest person who is owing $5 million.
Yes, and you know what? We can also authoritatively state that the issue of imprest has improved drastically. Yes, right
and
now.
There are some procedures which now there's a threshold.
Yes, there's a threshold now. That was created by the Minister of Finance. That the imprest they had was not more than 100,000. So and again, the financial regulation was very clear. When you get an imprest, you have to retire before you get another imprest. So what was and that particular regulation was not being followed to the letter.
Yes.
So and
that's how that person has accumulated 5 million.
Exactly. Yeah. And you will see instances where you have the same person taking 2 or 3 different imprests, which is also wrong to do according to the regulations. But I think the Minister of Finance actually has resolved that issue, and now the issue of imprest has drastically improved since we put them to task that they need to start paying if you don't retire their interest. So that actually has improved drastically. The last report I show, you only see very few people that did not retire at the end of the financial year. But again, even if you take an interest in the month of December, at the end of that particular year, you should actually retire the interest. So we cannot carry over to the next year.
So now December is cut off for all of us every year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very, very important. You see the role of the Parliament. No, but there's some quick fire questions which I even forgot to ask you.
Yes.
So as an event, how do you see the OIC, that has just concluded? We had about 6 in total heads of states out of 57 that came here. This might be the lowest turnout of heads of states for OIC. How do you see it? Was it as an event? Was it a success?
Well, for me, the way I see it, first, let's ask ourselves, when was the last time our own president attended the United Nations General Assembly? When was the last time Barrow attended? For a couple of years, he didn't go, like many other heads of states. Okay. So for me, the attendance of a head of state or not, for me, is not the issue. Okay. What the issue is, at the end of the day, the resolution they came out with, the agreement they came out, for me, that's how I access to see it.
Okay.
And in particular, this is about about Muslim countries. This is about the sovereignty of the Muslims across the world, and this is about what needed to be done in the Ummah. For me, that was actually enough. Whether 10 came or 15 came, whatever it is, at the end of the day, it's the foreign ministers that do the bulk of the work.
Yes, they did. The foreign ministers did turn up.
They turn up. In fact, even if you go to the United Nations, I mean, how many, more than 180 countries, they are part of it. But can you count at one session where you have more than 100 heads of state or 150 heads of states?
But they definitely have at least more than...
I know, but then let's ask
50% or 20% of them at least.
But let's ask our own president, when was the last time he went?
Yes.
When was the last time he went? So you're going to see that for me, it's like the attendance of the head of state, is good for them to be here, because it gives another image of the particular country. It gives another image and something else. Because you're going to see the issues that the foreign minister cannot resolve. Of course, when the head of state step in, it's going to be resolved. So for me, I don't have an issue where 10 or 15 came or 6 came, but the end result of the summit, that's what I'm actually interested in. And I think at the end of the day, what the Muslim Ummah expected in terms of the issues surrounding the entire Ummah, I think it was discussed. And I think when you look at the resolution that came out, I think it was really very clear, particularly about the sovereignty of the people of Palestine.
Indeed.
Exactly. I think it was very, very clear.
Definitely. I think everybody is hailing that as something positive.
Yes, and also what South Africa actually has done, in fact, to take Israel, to court.
And we are seeing the effects of that.
Exactly. And
just earlier this week, they are calling serious sanctions. They want to catch these people, Netanyahu, and also the leaders of Hamas.
Exactly. So you're going to see that there was an impact, and I think it was nice that they also congratulated the government of South Africa for taking the bull by the horn and then doing what one of the Muslim countries actually could have also done. So we want to also thank South Africa for taking the bull by the horn to do that. But again, that's exactly what it is. So for me, it's just a matter of what actually the outcome, the outcome of it exactly. For me, that's what they came out with.
What about as a project? You in Parliament, you are scrutinizing government when it comes to, but you are not in that particular committee. Obviously, when it comes that particular committee that scrutinizes government projects,
public enterprise.
Yes. There's one for I think honorably I mentioned Sergeant.
That's the monitoring
for government projects. I know they do that.
Yes.
But I know you're not there. But obviously, they bring their report to Parliament, so you are aware of it, and you guys make decision together as Parliament. So, as a project, right? How do you see the OIC projects? The Highway Road is not completed.
No, it's not completed. Yes, but the work is still going on.
The VVIP is completed.
Exactly.
Yes, to be fair.
And then the water projects and the electrical projects also.
Perhaps.
I think the water projects on Nawek, I think those are one of them was done almost 2 years ago or so.
Okay.
And I can assume that that was also done, and then the electricity as well. The upgrade that they were doing on the water supply and electricity. Because again, if you remember, Nawek also got some money to be able to upgrade certain things in that particular area.
Indeed.
So those ones actually were done. And then again, the Department Highway, it's not all about the OIC. There's a portion of it actually is done by the Gambia government themselves.
Yes.
I remember we have taken a loan to complete, to connect from the Senegambia area all the way to Stinkona. Yes. So that is actually done by the Gambia government themselves. So that was a loan that was approved by the Parliament. Yeah. So and then what we are told is like work is expected to be completed by end of August. So we are now. And I think the bulk of the work.
The rainy season, are they being realistic? Sometimes they give this, but sometimes works have stopped because of the rain. So
yes, that actually happened, especially during particular months, for example, of August itself. Exactly. But again, it's only in Africa.
Exactly, that's why I'm saying.
But it's only in Africa here where you said, but the rain stopped people from doing something.
Yes, I understand.
Now big snows, blizzards, people still go to work.
And they still go.
Exactly, yeah. So, but I'm very hopeful. The way I'm not an architect, but the way I see things, it seems the bulk of the work actually has now been done. So now we just going to do the finishing. But I'm also particularly impressed about the waterways, the gutters that's created, and that actually I think it has caused a lot of problem for us in many of our roads. I mean, you build a road and then there's no waterway where water actually can pass. And what do you expect the road to last long? No. But I'm glad that now it's kind of like they're changing the way they're doing their routes by putting waterways where water can pass through and flow nicely, so that it's not going to affect the flooding and stuff like that.
We're running out of time. The program is finished. Honorable, your last take will be a question also. Your position on FGM. This is your last take.
Yes, for me, it's a very simple matter.
Yes.
The FGM. For me, I was going to have an issue if you don't do it and it's going to be sinful in Islam. I was going to have a problem with that. But Islam says no. This is something an option. If you do it, fine. If you don't do it, it's also okay. But medically speaking, anyone that's I've been asked by a doctor today to stop eating a particular item, otherwise it's going to have an impact on your health. My brother, I bet you stop that immediately. So if the doctors actually come with research and tell us that, this actually can have an implication on our women, why do we have to continue to do that? When you as a person that's actually promoting it, if you are asked by a doctor to stop eating sugar today, otherwise it may cause you to die, whatever, you stop immediately. Now, the same medical doctor telling us that this is, so for me, I will not even have to argue with them. I said, you know what, if the doctor asked me to do this, I'll just do just that. So for me, I think it's no-brainer. Yes, tradition. Of course, yes, we need to respect our tradition. But again, we must also encourage traditions that was going to help us to make a big difference in society. Not doing FGM on a lady, whatever. What is it going to cost to that particular lady?
Indeed.
Nothing.
Indeed.
So for me, my stand is very simple. I'm a member of the gender committee. And again, we are still doing interrogation. So I don't want to say, but I can tell you my position as far as FGM is concerned is very clear. I don't think this is something that we really need to promote in our society, and I don't think this thing is something that I would support in the long run. No, I think this actually has to come to a stop because we've been advised medically, and I think we have to go by the advices of the doctors.
Thank you very much. That was the voice of Honorable Alhagie Mbow. We are finished. We run out of time. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor, alias Flexdan, and you were listening to Straight Talk. Sponsor this program so we can continue to save Gambians millions of dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an amazing
Wow.
just got way better. The threshold for cashing and cash out on your customer has been increased. Where it used to be 10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to 10,000. Meaning, your money account